Hey there folks, welcome back to Boneyard Labs. Today we are going to dive into the world of 3D printing. If you're in the market for a 3D printer but you haven't quite taken the plunge yet, this video might be for you. A lot of my friends that I talk to about my obsession with 3D printing, I usually get the same generalized question, which is like, well, what is a 3D printer really good for? What's it useful for other than like printing, toys for your kids or something, right? This is to help maybe show you a little bit of the variety that I've personally used. I probably have something printed in almost every room in the house, but all of them have a purpose. Without further ado, what better place to get started than right here? And one of the things I printed, this wall art right here. Okay, so these are just stuck in here. So this is all printed from plastic. I got this from an idea from basically a product that I saw online that said, I like that kind of concept. I'm going to do something similar. So I just drafted this up and now it's sitting on my wall. The second thing I got, also right here with the same material, is the stand for my headphones, right? Sits right there, bam, just like that. Pretty awesome. The other thing that I just actually saw right here is, this is something that my son printed out, but right here it says, I heart you, right? And then you rotate it this way, and it says, Dad, I heart you, Dad. So that's pretty cool. So that's all for my immediate area. Let's go check out the rest of the house and I can show you what I've been making. I know you guys know what this is. This is none other than a Mario coin block. And of course it is a little piggy bank. Right now I only have those in because I already took that to the bank, and believe it or not, it was pretty crazy. This little thing held like $33 and change, and so I just took it to the bank, deposited it. It was a nice little way to put some coins away for a rainy day. Next up is we printed out some wall mounts for our Quest 2 VR headset. So I got kind of tired of seeing them all laying around. I didn't really have a place for them, so I'm like, you know what, let's put them in our game room and we'll stick it on the wall. Next up is little Xbox organizers for all our video games. The next one is actually something that I'm actually pretty darn proud of because this took a lot of work. Did a lot of airbrushing, a lot of hand painting. This was my son's Halloween costume from a couple years back. Made that from basically 3D printed design and just painted it all up. So it's pretty fun to do that one. That was a good project. This here is essentially like a rifle for your VR controllers, so that when you're playing first-person shooters, you can basically stabilize your controllers for better gaming experience. So here's our laundry room. Now, I ended up installing these cabinets, but the wall wasn't absolutely perfectly flat, so I had to actually shim these to make them so that one isn't like tipped this way. It needs to be like basically flat on this plane. So what I ended up doing is, instead of going out and trying to find shims that worked, there's a teeny little gap right there, okay? And what I did is, I'll show you, I just designed a little shim so that I can basically shim these out so they look nice and square, and they turned out great. So good utilitarian use case. All right, next up is my son's room. This is his door. That is the infamous Solid Snake, along with the logo, and of course, bit of 3 dimensions, right? Metal Gear Solid, tactical espionage action. Interesting story. That guy I actually made with Midjourney, using basically AI to generate a silhouette of him. Then what I did was I turned him into an SVG, which is a file format of an image, and then basically took it into a 3D CAD modeling program and extruded it a little bit to give it some dimension, and then printed that off in 2 pieces. You can see that the head isn't connected to the body, and then I just took some double-sided tape, stuck it right on there. Now he's got a cool little logo on his bedroom door. Speaking of bedroom doors, this down here, it kind of drove me nuts because his door, I need to fix the hinges, but the door kind of swings closed. But in the meantime, before I get to doing that, I just have this, which holds his door for me so that it doesn't constantly swing closed. Making my way into my daughter's room, when I printed my son's logo, she got all jealous and wanted something of her own, so now she got herself a butterfly. And to give you an example of what size it is, it's a pretty good size. So these next 2 are specifically for either fitness, or you can categorize them, I guess, as like physical therapy tools. I saw these types of things online for sale and stuff, and they're like 20, 30, 40 bucks. So I just designed this real quick. This is awesome. It's a back roller. This one you got to be a little more careful about because you don't want it to break while you're rolling on it. So you really kind of have to know what you're doing with regards to strength and everything. So for a beginner, I wouldn't recommend just printing something out and expecting it to hold your body weight. But this one was designed specifically by me. Hold on. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you guys heard that. but I feel like I'm 20 again. The other thing I got while I'm still down here on the ground is this thing right here. You just stick it right here and it hits your occipital muscles on the back of your head. And I don't know if you can see that, but it just helps relax them a little bit. My wife and I love our Nespresso, but of course right here is a very alert little owl hanging out on a espresso mug. It's just a little cute little wall art. Now next to that is a little coffee mug that also serves as a pod dispenser, or storage, if you will. All right, next up are some refrigerator magnets that look like PS5 controllers. So these I actually made. So I actually designed those and made those and kind of just hang out there. So next up we got a little organizer here. We got at the end of the kitchen just to kind of organize our stuff. So we got some wireless headphones and my daughter's old, call it a bloggy, that's old school. Of course got a little tablet and got my wife's charger for her watch. For any of you gamers, if you open it up, it's got a bunch of our Nintendo Switch games inside, which is kind of cool. All right, by now you guys can probably tell that I'm into games a little bit. These are 3 of our storage organizers. All right, moving on to the garage. I do have a couple of pegboard tools, little pegboard storage. As you can see, I got like a little ghoul here from this laser for Halloween, because Halloween is coming up. And I lost the stake to stake it in the ground. So what I did was I made its own little stand. And I designed this just the other day. And now, voila, I could stick it indoors, outdoors, anywhere I want. And instead of trying to find a compatible one or replacing this whole, $25 unit or whatever, it cost me maybe, I think this was like $1.20 is what it cost me in materials. It took me about 10 minutes to CAD model it up. Moving on next, my son has a longboard that we wanted to store, so found these online. Just wall mounted longboard wall mount. It's just chilling right there in the garage now, out of the way. Got all these brooms. They're all chilling on the wall. More brackets. Wall-mounted brackets, keeping everything organized. Right next to that, I have a Mando helmet that is very, very poorly painted, because it started orange peeling right away because I didn't wait long enough for the next layer to cure. Still got a ton of sanding to do. I'll get to that eventually. Oh, and guess what? I can print accessories for my freaking printer. Inside I have desiccant beads that are keeping all the filament dry so that they don't get moisture in it, so that my prints can come out really clean. Down here they got what they call a poop chute, and I printed this off just to catch it all as it changes colors. So you can see that it'll actually change colors right here. You got white to black, so it changes colors for you. You don't have to do any color changes yourself. It all does it automatically, and it catches there. You dump that out and recycle it. It's a glass top, and right here is a little riser that I printed, mainly because this little feeder tube right here on the printer head, the little feeder tube would rub up against this glass and it would chafe the tube. And of course it was actually originally designed to throw in LED strips, which is what I did, but it had a secondary benefit. I 3D printed a little logo for a keychain holder. My son, he rides a little an electric bicycle, and when he comes home he parks it right there, sticks a key right there. Guys might want to look up Demo, crypto project, pretty cool. Get paid to drive, it's awesome. Got paid a couple $100 already. So that's about all I have for you. That concludes the tour. That wasn't everything that I print, but that's definitely a good portion of the stuff that I have around the house that I thought you guys might be interested. So just trying to show you some variety a little bit. I know most of it was weighted on, organization, because I like to keep things organized. That's just my nature, right? Coming from as a military background, they kind of drill that into you. Yeah, that's kind of what I use them for. And maybe you get a couple of ideas as to how you can maybe justify purchasing your own. It's a great technology. I love it. It offers a lot of freedom and creativity, and you can if you have kids too, you can have them sit along for the process or teach them how to do some simple CAD modeling. As far as CAD modeling goes, it's not as hard as you might think. It does look a bit daunting, especially when you're following like experts on YouTube that have been doing it for 15-20 years it looks really complicated. But if you start off with the basics, that's all you need. Baby steps at a time. You do 30 minutes at a time learning and following along, and in a couple of weeks, in no time, you'll be able to make your own stuff, simple stuff, and get more and more complex throughout the months. and just have fun with it. Really, just it's all about creativity in my mind. It's about creativity and being able to make things that didn't exist, and then all of a sudden, you know, a couple hours later, half a day later, you go from modeling something, you go from an idea to a design to a product in a matter of hours potentially. So I just think that's the most amazing thing that we have going on in our day and age, and I'm just all about it. So yeah, hope this helps in your guys' decision making and diving into this technology as well, and we'll see you next time.